Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a fun word. I love to play with words, break words down, to talk about the alternative word as well at some point, but I'm sure that I didn't coin the phrase conspirituality. Probably just one of those things that came around and I grabbed onto it. But simply put, if you were going to honestly, authentically pursue a spiritual path, spiritual development, you're going to run into conspiracy. If you're honest, you're going to have to deal with conspiracy. And on the inverse, the same is true. If you are pursuing conspiratorial information, eventually it's going to lead you to a spiritual path. And if you try to take one of those routes without taking the other, you'll hit dead ends. You'll get, it'll get ugly for you, or you'll just be stopped or blocked. So I like that word because it accentuates exactly what both of those paths entail. The more light you bring into your life, the more aware you become of the darkness through that increase of consciousness and awareness. And the more that you study the dark forces of the world, the conspiracies, the more likely you are to discover that this is not a material realm, that this is that we're in the spirit world right now. There is not a separation between the spirit world and the material world. This is all spirit all the time.
Yeah, and the latter is the route that me and Cameron have taken. So we delved into a bit of conspiracies when we were in our teenage years. Um, I kind of took a step back from it and tried to live a normal life. And then when the pandemic hit, it threw me straight back into the conspiracy, conspiracy world. So I started reading up on all the conspiracies, all the news that was out there. It was such a confusing time. So me and Cam were just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And then on that journey, it's led us down a path where if we're on a spiritual journey now. And yeah, so that's the route we've taken. What's the route you took? Was it conspiracy first or spirituality first?
For me, it was spirituality first. Well, it just depends on where you start the story, honestly. I got blocked. I know from personal experience because around '07, I was a senior in high school. I came across that movie Zeitgeist that a lot of your audience might be aware of. And it, ostensibly was about showing you the truth behind the financial system and the scam that is organized religion. But it leaves you in a place of thinking, this is a hopeless situation unless we turn to communism. And it also doesn't actually get to the esoteric aspect of, when it covers the religious part, that movie, it just talks about how the different solar deities of religions are following the same template and pattern. But it leaves you with that as if to say, see, it's all fake. But for me, that led me to just go full atheist for a while. And it wasn't until, and I stopped, on all levels trying to find the truth about things. And when I began opening up to spirituality again, is when I had to eventually face conspiracy information too. But it started for me with exploring consciousness, exploring how to raise my level of health so that I could also harness and access more creativity and more of my authentic self. And in the process, you have to get real about, that there are spiritual forces driving this world, and not all of them are love and light. And I fell into, I say fell into, it's just kind of part of the process, but I got into like the whole Gnostic, pop culture Gnosticism thing. I call it pop culture Gnosticism because I don't think it's true knowing, but this idea that the world is some kind of prison planet, that we're here to be harvested for our energy and put into negative states by invisible entities and archons and a demiurge. And so that, that's kind of like a lot of people's final boss level of conspiracy. And they get there and they stop and they go, here it is. This is the ultimate reason for why I can take the posture of a victim and have, no matter what, no need to take personal responsibility for how my life is going, because I can always point to the biggest boogeyman imaginable, the demiurge. And that's why my life is not what I want, as opposed to it being something about yourself. So good. It was good to eventually break out of that mindset as well. I wouldn't say that it put me on too bad of a downward spiral, but I like to bring it up and, wax on about that in whatever venue I can, because maybe there's somebody out there listening today that needed permission to reject that type of worldview because they can see how it's not serving them, regardless of, we don't know what's beyond the veil of death, right? We don't know exactly how we got here, or what this place is, or how it was created, but you have equal, I wouldn't even say equal, but you have just as much, if not a lot more reasons to see this place as good, if you choose to, as to see it as evil and fallen. So that's kind of what led me to where I'm at now, which is doing my best to bring empowerment to people, ideas that open up the imagination portal so they can start to see, envision a better world than they're currently in, or a better life than they're currently living. Ultimately, that's what stops people from expanding, is being unable to imagine something better. So big part of my mission right here is show people things that they might not have thought of or imagined before, that allows them tools or allows them perspective to go up to the next level. And there's always a next level, and there's always one after that. And we can keep on expanding infinitely.